Denny Green, mate. Fight week's finally here. Errol, Spence-Tim Tszyu. What's your overall impressions of this fight?
I'm struggling to hear you. I'm getting old. I'm getting deaf. That music's bloody loud. But yeah, it's exciting to be here. It's got that fight week feel, and you know, Errol Spence is here in Australia, and I've never seen him in the flesh. And it's good to see him in the flesh. He looks smooth, and he's been out of the game a long time, so it's very interesting to see what he's going to bring.
What are you expecting? Obviously, you know, that 3-year layoff, we don't know what to expect, but what are you expecting from Errol in this fight?
To be honest, I have no idea. I don't think anyone's got an idea.
What sort of style are you expecting from Errol?
Errol Spence, you know, I think he's going to, well, to be honest, it's really difficult because 3 years out, he's had one fight in 4 years. You know, beat Ugas, which is a great victory. And so that inactivity is difficult, and it can work in some guys' favour, and it can work against some guys. So it's yet, when the bell goes, that's when we're going to find out. After a couple of rounds, we'll know what kind of Errol Spence is here, and I expect Tim to question what kind of Errol Spence is here pretty early.
If you were in Tim Tszyu's corner, what does Tim Tszyu need to do to win this fight?
I think be calculated, but look, I'm going to say something that's kind of it's contradictive. Be calculated, but he's got to test him early. He's wondering, hey Errol, how does this feel after so long? You like this? You know, give him a couple of you know, leather sandwiches and see how he likes that. You know, when you get a punch in the face after a while out, when you used to getting punched in the face, it doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt. It frustrates you. The pain doesn't, you don't feel the pain till later. Broken bones, no matter what. You know, when you hit with the body shot, it hurts. But I think if you can crack him and just land a couple of big blows, because when you're under the bright lights and you get hit with a big, heavy shot, it fucking stuns you. You're stunned. Your legs are stunned. It's like, whoa. And things, you stop hearing things. Kind of goes silent. You go into this vortex. Everything just goes. And you got this guy in front of you trying to knock you out, and the crowd's going bonkers. There's lights flashing. There's people everywhere. It's a wild experience. Not having experienced that for so long, if I was Tim, I'd want to drop it on him pretty early.
Yeah. I guess there is that criticism of Tim Tszyu that he has been reckless in the past early. How do you sort of look at that, you know? Would you be urging somewhat cautious start from Tim Tszyu, or just calculated, like you said?
I don't know whether he's been reckless. I think he's just been aggressive. And that's what happens when you're fighting someone. If you've got two fists, when you're aggressive, you may just run into a shot that's going to hurt you. So it's impossible to say what's going to happen, and I can't predict what he should do or what he can do or what he might do, or because I'm not his trainer. I'm not Tim. I think Tim knows enough what he's got to do. I think he's got a plan in his head. He looks pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. A major talking point this fight build-up has been Jeff Fenech and your old nemesis Anthony Mundine going back and forth in the press. Any comment or response to Jeff Fenech and Mundine's sort of feud late these past couple of weeks?
Chock's always going to run his mouth. And he said he bashed all of Jeff's fighters. Well, I wasn't with Jeff when we fought the first time or the second time. And he didn't bash me, he beat me. And if he was going to bash anyone, he would have bashed me that night. He should have knocked me out that night. Should have put me away in 6 rounds, the condition I was in. He never bashed me, he beat me. He never bashed me. So, I don't know who else he fought from Jeff's fighters, I don't know. I'm assuming he did back in the day. I can't remember that. I'm going to have to look it up, but Chock's got his views, and that's Chock, and he's always going to express them, and it's a free world. But I think Jeff, you know, could instill some vigour into Tim Tszyu in this camp.
Is there pressure on Jeff Fenech in this fight, Denny?
There's always pressure on the trainer, particularly when you're coming in new and you have, you know, such a high profile. There's going to be pressure, of course. But like I said, I think think Jeff, it could work in Tim's favour having Jeff in his camp this fight. I think it might be a positive for this fight. Instill some vigour into Tim and some enthusiasm that I think was lacking in the last 2 fights from Tim. There wasn't a great deal of enthusiasm. I don't think there was much. From what I saw, I didn't see a lot of love for the sport from watching Tim on the outside looking in. I don't know. But it didn't look like he was kind of like, man, I want to do this. I really want to get out there and go hammer and tongs. It was maybe he seemed a little bit tentative to pull the trigger, and I think that may change in this fight.
I remember watching your fight against Roy Jones. I was about 12 years old at the time, and how do you look at the build-up to that fight? Do you see any similarities in this fight? You know, Tim Tszyu fighting that American, that big name, and you know you got that enormous upset that night. Do you see any similarities between those two?
Oh, Roy's a goat. You know, Roy's one of the goats. You ask anyone in the boxing who's their top 10, Roy will be in them, most of them. And Roy was active. Roy had just beaten Jeff Lacey, destroyed Jeff Lacey. That's why this fight sold out Ace Arena, because we had 18,000 people there, because they thought Roy Jones was going to pump me like he pumped Jeff Lacey. He fought Joe Calzaghe 12 months earlier, dropped him. Joe retired undefeated. And then after I fought him, 4 months later, he went and fought Bernard Hopkins, who was the then pound for pound for years, and went 12 rounds. So you know, Roy's a goat, and it was, you know, it's like one of those different kind of generational, you know, once in a generation athletes. He's probably classed as an athlete more than a boxer. But yeah, Errol, and I'm competitive, and it was a monster fight, man. It was crazy, and so you know, this fight, you know, for Tim Tszyu is his big moment. It's a big moment for him, and Errol Spence is a big name American fighter coming out here to Australia to fight, and it's a moment that you know, I think Tim's gonna really relish and take with, you know, like no one expected me to be victorious. No one gave me a chance, whereas this fight, people give Tim a chance.
How did you approach that fight when no one gave you the chance? And would you have any advice to Tim to, I guess, deal with, you know, the Americans are writing Tim off and all that sort of thing? Do you have any advice for Tim on that?
I've read a lot of literature around they're backing Tim because they're not confident in what Spence is going to have or what he's going to bring. So I think there's a bit of 50-50 on this one. I don't think it's all. I don't think Errol's a favourite. I certainly don't think so. I think Tim's a favourite. Going on just what they are right now, I believe that Tim is going to be victorious, but I don't know, because I don't know what Errol's going to bring. I don't think anyone knows what Errol's going to bring. So who knows, man? And as I said earlier, I think Tim's got to ask a few hard questions of Errol pretty early.
Well, last one for you then. Tim Tszyu winning this fight, where would that rank in terms of great Australian wins? Obviously got, you know, your win, Roy Jones, you got Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, you know, George Lopez, those sort of guys. Where would this one rank in your eyes? Maybe exclude yourself from the list so it's a bit easier.
I can't exclude myself from the list. Why would I do that? It was on the front page of the newspaper saying it's one of the greatest Australian victories of all time. There you go. From another boxing expert, a boxing world champion, a boxing expert said it. So I'm gonna dine out on that, mate, for sure. So I'm dining out on that till the day after I die, because
absolutely,
no one gave me a chance. But yeah, this, if you know, Tim can be victorious, this can also propel him to bigger fights. You know, this can propel him to bigger fights. So you know, if he can be victorious, his career has a renaissance. And I think will get him potentially a bigger fight.
Yeah. Maybe just one more news today: Nikita Tszyu versus Ben Marnie. Any thoughts on that fight?
I like that fight. I always thought it was Ben Mahoney, but I'm an old guy, and if anyone's my vintage, they'll know Mahoney from Police Academy.
That's the best movie.
So. But Ben Marnie, I like the kid. I think he's a good fighter.
It's the best movie ever.
It is, man. I'm glad you know it. Here, give this to Dad for me. Bang. Anyway, Yeah, I like that fight a lot. I think it's a really, really good fight. I know Ben Mahoney's super. Mahoney, Mahoney. Sorry, champ, I'm not being taking the piss. I just thought it was Mahoney. I know it's Mahoney, but I used to think it was Mahoney. But yeah, Ben Mahoney versus Nikita's a cracking fight. He's, he's really gonna. This will be the biggest test of Nikita's career by far. Like, Ben Mahoney's got to be the favourite going into it. And as a fighter, as an older fighter, I'm looking at Ben Mahoney. He has to be. And I think Nikita would understand that because of what Ben Mahoney's done in far as his career goes. But I really think that it's a stern test for Nikita Tszyu, and it's a really good fight for the boxing fans. Really good fight. I love it.
Watch Police Academy after the fight then, huh? What a movie. All right, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.